In this video, we're going to be talking about the lies of Christmas. And there are many lies regarding Christmas. And no, I'm not talking about what people claim that Christmas is a myth and that it's just a pagan holiday repackaged and all of those lies. No, we're going to be talking about actual lies that are told during Christmas and other holidays as well. I mean, why do we tell our kids that there's a tooth fairy when there's really not? And why do we tell them there's an Easter bunny when there's really not? I mean, we tell them these things that are not true. They're literally lies. There's no Santa tracker at our house watching him around the world to see where he goes and where he's really at, except that it's not true, and perpetuating a myth that's not true. Now, my daughter is 5. Actually, she just turned 6, and she knows there's no such thing as Santa Claus, or at least not that Santa Claus. She knows Santa Claus is real. She knows Santa Claus is St. Nicholas. She knows the story of St. Nicholas and how he brought gifts to kids. And she knows that St. Nicholas is real and therefore Santa Claus is real. And that there are other Santas that help carry on his tradition, in a sense, help him down to present day. Us. Of course, she doesn't know it's us yet, and she asks for the details sometimes and wants more information. I'll tell her she'll understand more when she gets older, but she knows the fake Santa doesn't exist, and she knows that the real Santa does. She knows that St. Nicholas brought presents to poor people and helped them in need, but she also knows that reindeers don't fly, and in fact, no deer actually flies. And as for Santa Claus, I mean, she sees them at the malls all the time, and there's like 1,000 Santa Clauses at different places, and she's like, that's not the real Santa Claus, is it, Dad? I said, no, that's not the real Santa Claus. But they're carrying on the tradition of the real Santa Claus. They're helping to give, Christmas cheer and serve others and that sort of thing. And, we had a wonderful, went to a party the other day, and 3 fire trucks showed up, and Santa Claus came out of one of them, the most legit looking Santa Claus I've ever seen. And he had some elves with him, and he brought gifts for people. And she said she was so excited. She's like, Dad, Santa's coming. And like all the kids were cheering. And just when he was about to get there, she's like, this isn't the real Santa Claus, is it, Dad? But keep wanting to keep it, some of the magic for her. I said, no, it's not St. Nicholas, but he helps St. Nicholas. He carries on the tradition of St. Nicholas. So he is a Santa Claus that helps carry on the tradition of Christmas. And he's going to be giving gifts to all the kids here because that's what Christmas is about. It's about giving. And she was excited to, receive that gift. And I was trying to teach her what it's really about. So Santa came and she got a picture with him and she got gifts from him. And she knew that the real Santa was going to come at night, those who carry on the tradition of the real Santa. And they did. And she got gifts in the morning and she was very happy. And even in the midst of her receiving gifts, we're still trying to cultivate in her what Christmas is about. And I try to tell her the most important thing about Christmas is going to Mass. Christmas, Christ Mass, Christmas. It's about Jesus being born for us. It's about preparing our hearts and loving him. It's about worshiping him. It's about going to Mass and giving back to him. The word Eucharist means thanksgiving. I've been drilling that into her. And every time we receive the Eucharist, we thank God for all that we have and all that he gives us so that we can hopefully go give it to other people and share our gifts and our talents with those in need and the less fortunate, which is why we've been giving money out the window in our cars to the poor people standing on the side of the street. And we're trying to instill in her and ourselves the spirit of giving. I'd love to know all your thoughts out there. You can leave them in the comments section, but here's my thoughts, because here's another one. Another lie, that we weaponize Santa. I know a lot of people have a problem with the weaponization of Santa Claus, that you better be good. Santa's watching you all year long. And really what we're doing is we're just trying to get you to be good. So we're using Santa as a weapon to try and get you to be good. He's watching you, everything you do, every single thing. Like Uncle Tom, he's watching every move you make. And you're going to pay if you're not good. As if some kid has never gotten presents because he's bad. Oh yeah, if you're bad, you don't get any presents. Like that's ever happened in history. Another lie. Of course you're going to get presents. Of course they're going to get everything they want. The bottom line is we're using him to say, hey, this is what's right. This is what's wrong. Santa's watching. And in a sense, that's true because we are watching and we carry on that tradition of Santa, but here's the real deal. How about we be good because it's the right thing to do, and because we're called to be good and follow Christ and be better? It has nothing to do with whether Santa's watching or not, and we shouldn't be using that against our kids, because St. Nicholas wasn't doing that or like that at all. That's a secularized version coming from a song that says you better not pout, you better not cry, and all of that secularized part of Christmas. It just seems to me like a lot of people have lost what Christmas is really about, and they've lost the true meaning of Christmas for a replaced, counterfeit, secularized version. Because we know, as I said, Santa Claus is real. St. Nicholas was real. He was a bishop. He was a real person. He really lived. He really did go around at night and give gifts to people in need, especially poor families who couldn't afford shoes or couldn't afford certain things. He would drop bags of money in and through their window at night anonymously, so that they didn't praise him and give him all the praise. He just wanted to give it freely as a gift, because that's what Christ does to us. He gives himself as a gift. So we give ourselves to others as a gift. And if you have money, you're called to give that away to people in need. If you have different talents, you're called to give that away to people in need. But the bottom line is, St. Nicholas gives us a great picture of Christ and how to live out the faith in love, in service, humility, charity, and selflessness to other people. That's what Christmas is about. Well, secondarily, Christmas is really about Christ and him being born, praising him, worshiping him, going to Mass and worshiping him, and giving our lives to him, preparing ourselves, receiving him at Christmas. That's why we have that preparation Advent time before Christmas, because it's a time we're supposed to prepare our hearts for Christ, to receive him, to grow in holiness, to grow in selflessness. But I feel like the secularization of our culture is we're giving people expensive vacations and PlayStations and huge expensive gifts. And I think instead of cultivating selflessness, we're actually cultivating gluttony and greed in a lot of our kids, who have gifts and lists of like 50 things, 200 things. They're looking through all the magazines of everything they want. That's called gluttony. And it's creating a spirit of gluttony, in my opinion, rather than a spirit of service. Yes, parents give gifts to their kids and to others, which is good. I guess it's depending on the gifts, but, and the spirit behind it. But are our kids learning to give also? Are they learning to be selfless? Many families on Christmas go serve the poor and the homeless at shelters. Others I know, and my family tradition did this growing up, we went to different homes or hospitals or different places where people didn't have any family. They were either dead or they were in another country. They have no family. They're spending Christmas alone. So they have these organizations where you can bring them food and you bring them presents and you bring them Christmas cheer and conversation and love, and you give to them who have nothing. And that's what Christmas is about. Giving to others and loving others selflessly and joyfully. It's not about getting a whole hoard of gifts or even giving your kids a whole hoard of gifts. That is not what Christmas is about. Sure, we can give gifts. Sure, we can teach a spirit of giving, but are our kids learning to give also? Are they learning to give gifts? Are they learning to give more than receive? Are they learning to think of others more than themselves? These are good questions to ask. And sure, we don't want to take away the so-called magic completely. We don't want her to be the girl from Miracle on 34th Street, just a stone wall and callous to everything, and that's not real. No, we still want some, quote, magic, as we call it, to happen. So she knows she's going to get gifts. She knows that there's presents going to be under the tree. She has no idea how it happens. And she wakes up to presents under the tree in the morning. But we're also trying to simultaneously teach her to give and to think of others and to go out and buy presents for others and to serve people in need and that sort of thing. Now, she doesn't fully understand how the whole Santa Claus, St. Nicholas thing works. But she says, well, how does it happen, Dad? And I say, well, you'll find out in a few years, and when you get a little older. And so we just leave it at that. And that's how we are doing it. I don't want to lie to her about a tooth fairy and a Easter bunny and all these other things. I want her to learn, and we want to instill a tradition of what Christmas is actually about, without erasing everything as well, without being too over dogmatic and zealous about it. But, this is my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts, what you think. I know a lot of people have been, arguing about this online, but I don't see any point to lie to people. Especially a lot of people are very traumatized when they learn that it's not true. And I've been lied to my entire life over this, when in reality, all we need to do is instill in them the truth about what Christmas is about, the values of Christmas, the service of Christmas, and, St. Nicholas and how these things work without giving all the details. So I think it's possible. That's what we do. You can let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear them. Feel free to share this video with other people who might need to hear it. We're so close to 100,000 followers. It's 100,000. So I would love it as a Christmas gift if you could help us out and just hit that subscribe button, and please help us to reach 100,000 followers. I feel like a beginner YouTuber when I was first trying to get to 1,000. I'm like, please, we need to get to 1,000 to be a real YouTuber. And a lot of people helped us out. And now I feel like that all over again. Hey, please help us out. Help us get to 100,000 so we can be a real YouTuber. No, but seriously, if you could help us out and hit that subscribe button, and you'll get seriously awesome, super inspirational, hardcore Catholic apologetics and inspirational videos at your doorstep. And if you would like in-person inspiration and teaching, invite us to your church, parish missions. We do them. Keynote speakers at conferences. We do confirmation retreats, theology on taps, universities and college retreats. I mean, high school retreats, you name it, we do it. And we would love to come serve your parish or group. So check out our website at catholictruth.org. And may God bless you, and Merry Christmas.
Hi everyone, my name is Marlene. I'm the administrative assistant here at Catholic Truth, and we are so happy to have you join us in this journey and in this channel to learn more about the truth of Jesus and our wonderful Catholic faith. So thanks to all of you, and God bless you.